The crew's panicked voices could be heard faintly. Then the scene cut to a stop just as Zhang Linghe's body appeared to lose balance and fall on the set. There was no background music, just the gasps of those watching. The moment was brief, but enough to spark a wave of speculation far greater than a minor incident. In the entertainment world, especially the competitive Chinese drama industry, no event stands alone. Every movement, every expression, even every accident has the potential to become a narrative. When Zhang Linghe later appeared to reassure fans and describe her injury as minor, many were relieved, but others began to question, was this really just a casual incident? Leaked behind-the-scenes footage revealed a different nuance. There was a longer pause before help arrived. There was a facial expression that didn't quite convey "all right." In the world of professional production, small details like these often hint that the reality on the ground doesn't always align with the official narrative. But this story wasn't isolated. Tian Xiwei, on the other hand, appeared with a completely different approach, without makeup in his role as a police officer. This decision seemed simple, even natural, but that's precisely where its power lies. It's not just about looks, it's about the message. Audiences began to debate. Was this a form of artistic courage or a carefully crafted image strategy? In an industry that has relied on visual perfection for years, a bare face can feel like a revolutionary statement. When these two events occurred almost simultaneously, a pattern began to emerge. On the one hand, there was a narrative of resilience, an actor who remained professional despite an incident. On the other, there was a narrative of authenticity, an actress who shed the veneer of glamour for realism. And the public, unwittingly, became part of this grand experiment. Their reactions were analyzed, read, perhaps even predicted. Did audiences value honesty more, or were they still tied to a long-established ideal image? In recent years, the global market has changed the way the Chinese industry positions its idols. It's no longer enough to simply look perfect. There's a new demand to be real. But reality itself has become a commodity. Zhang Linghe, with her fall, indirectly reinforced her image as a dedicated actor. Even if the incident was unplanned, the way it was presented to the public still followed a familiar narrative pattern: professionalism above all else. Meanwhile, Tian Xiwei displayed another form of dedication, the courage to be seen as she was. But beneath that, a deeper question looms. Was this truly spontaneous, or part of a broader branding strategy? The modern entertainment industry no longer just sells stories on screen. It sells stories behind the scenes. And sometimes, the line between the two becomes blurred. What was once considered an incident can now become a narrative asset. What was once considered an imperfection can now become a symbol of authenticity. This is a paradigm shift that doesn't happen by chance. In this context, every detail matters. The way the camera rolls, the way management responds, the way fans react, all form a complex ecosystem of perception. Interestingly, global audiences now have different expectations than domestic audiences. They seek something that feels more human, more intimate, more honest. And the industry seems to be adapting to these demands. But this adaptation is not without risks. When authenticity becomes a strategy, it can lose its meaning. When honesty is contrived, it can feel like a new illusion. Zhang Linghe may have genuinely suffered only a minor injury. Tian Xiwei may have genuinely wanted to appear natural. But in this industry, personal intentions are often intertwined with larger interests. And herein lies the tension between reality and representation, between the individual and the system, between what happened and how it was told. For fans, this presents a unique dilemma. Are they witnessing a real moment or a carefully curated version? Are their emotions genuine or staged? One thing is certain, this shift cannot be ignored. The Chinese drama industry is moving into a new phase, one where image is no longer built solely on perfection, but on a balance between vulnerability and control. And perhaps, it is precisely in these cracks that we begin to see the true face of this industry. Not one that is flawless, but one that is strategic, layered, and more complex than it appears on the surface. This shift also demonstrates how the line between actor and character is increasingly blurring. When Zhang Linghe is seen collapsing on set, the public doesn't just see an actor experiencing an accident. They see a resilient character that has been constructed on screen. Reality and fiction intertwine, creating a convincing illusion. On the other hand, Tian Xiwei's decision to go makeup-free also expands this boundary. She not only portrays a realistic police officer, but also indirectly presents herself as an individual who dares to defy conventional beauty standards. However, precisely because of this, the public is beginning to ask, is this self-expression or another form of performance? This phenomenon demonstrates that the industry is now not just managing projects, but also micromanaging perceptions. Every behind-the-scenes video, every brief interview, every expression captured on camera, all can become part of a larger narrative being constructed. In the context of globalization, the pressure to appear authentic is increasingly intense. International audiences tend to be more skeptical of overly perfect images. They look for cracks, for imperfections, because that's where they can relate. The industry has begun to respond by presenting moments that feel more raw. However, the greatest irony arises when the imperfections themselves begin to be manufactured. What appears spontaneous may have been strategically considered. What feels natural may be the result of careful planning. And at this point, authenticity becomes an increasingly elusive concept. For actors like Zhang Linghe, this pressure means they must not only perform at their best in front of the camera, but also maintain a personal narrative off-screen. Every action has consequences for their image, and every image has commercial value. Meanwhile, for actresses like Tian Xiwei, the courage to be different can be a double-edged sword. On the one hand, she earns praise for her honesty. On the other, she also faces criticism questioning the motives behind such decisions. Interestingly, this dynamic is not only affecting industry players, but also changing the way audiences consume content. They are no longer simply enjoying stories, but also analyzing, comparing, and even dismantling existing narratives. Ultimately, all of this leads to one big question. In an era where everything can be a strategy, is there still room for something truly spontaneous? Or has spontaneity itself become part of a larger scenario, an illusion designed to feel real? The question lingers, especially as the public begins to notice a recurring pattern. Every time an incident occurs, there's a quick clarification. Every time a seemingly bold decision is made, there's always a framing that points to a specific meaning. It's as if there's no empty space. Everything has been filled by a designed narrative. In situations like this, figures like Zhang Linghe symbolize a new generation of actors who must live in two worlds simultaneously. The first is the world of acting, where they are required to convey convincing emotions. The second is the world of image, where every emotion must be kept in check. The same is true for Tian Xiwei. The decision to go makeup-free may seem simple, but its impact is far-reaching. It not only influences perceptions of herself, but also opens up discussions about industry standards as a whole. Behind all this lies a powerful force rarely seen: management, marketing teams, and communication strategies. They work behind the scenes, weaving pieces of reality into stories that the public can accept, even celebrate. However, as these strategies become more sophisticated, audiences become more discerning. They begin to read patterns, recognize techniques, and question authenticity. This creates a new dynamic in which the industry and audiences test each other. In some cases, this tension actually produces something interesting. When the public questions a narrative, the industry is forced to adapt. When the industry adapts, the public again looks for loopholes. It's a cycle that continues endlessly. In the midst of this cycle, individuals like Zhang Linghe and Tian Xiwei are at the forefront. They are not just actors, but also representatives of the changes taking place. Their every move is observed, analyzed, and used as a reference. Interestingly, this change impacts not only how they are perceived, but also how they see themselves. When personal identity constantly intersects with public image, the lines between the two can become blurred. And perhaps that's the crux of it all. An industry that no longer simply creates entertainment, but also creates its own version of reality. A reality that feels close, feels real, yet remains under control. A grand stage where even imperfections have a predetermined role.